Hear me out, hear me out. Let me just get this off my chest. Welcome to Her Diary Out Loud with Danny Royal, where my journey does not define me, but it defies the barriers of caring about what other people think. One real life experience at a time, my story, my way. I mean, it's better out than in, right?
The other day I got offended. I got immediately offended. And one thing about offense, you can get offended by a stranger or you can get offended by somebody you know. In my case, I got immediately offended by somebody that I knew. And I'm going to be honest, open and transparent. I immediately got offended by my dad. I guess you're wondering why I got offended. I got offended because we were having a conversation, and it's just like these days I've just been wanting to take in. After the scare that we had with my dad, along with just being here consistently while I recover from having a baby, it's been something. It's been up, it's been down, it's been prayer, it's been smiles and laughs and so many things. I'm capturing moments that I feel are necessary, but I'm blessed to have. I don't know when my father's time will come to leave this earth, but I do want to cherish the moments that I do have. And sometimes things like offense can stand in the way of what we plan to do and what we want to do. When the reality of it is, you have a choice. And you must choose the choice. To be offended or not to be. I was offended because we were having a conversation, and in the conversation, he had been expressing some things that I honestly completely forgot about. My father expressed that he had been married 3 times. But prior to that comment that he said about being married three times, he actually said, I just don't know why I can't keep a wife. And I was going to say, well, why do you feel like? I asked him, why do you feel like you couldn't keep a wife? And then he proceeded to say, well, I've been married 3 times. And I'm like, okay, well, I understand that you've been married a couple of times, but why do you feel like you couldn't keep a wife? Because only you know why each one of those women decided to leave you. And in every moment in those times, the common denominator was you. Were you choosing wrong? Did you have secrets that you felt you couldn't share? Were you living a double life? Were you just not happy? Did you have high demands and she couldn't reach those demands? What was it that you know about you that made you feel like, man, I believe this is why she's walking away? I wanted to have that conversation with him for many different reasons, but he shut it right down. He shut it right down and said that I don't want to hear your opinion about that. I would like to hear it from the person, those people that I was once with. And I'm like, well, I'm just coming to you from a woman. I can express to you as a daughter what I could see and be genuine as I know how, because I feel like from a daughter's perspective, it would matter. Because I remember doing a segment saying, I love my dad. And this wasn't even on my podcast. This was years ago. We didn't even have a podcast. But I was just like, I don't want to marry a guy like my dad. And it wasn't me being mean, nasty, or petty, or anything like that. There were things that I saw in my dad that made me feel like, you know what? I'm good on that. My husband will be this. My husband will do this. And typically, we as women, we take on men who has similar characteristics to our father. Now, for me, life ain't been no crystal stair. I am a black girl with a colorful life. And as much as I love the Lord, I didn't want a church man. Amongst other things. Now, me not wanting a church man didn't originally stem from my father. That stemmed from my son's father, the man that I married first. Funny thing, they had a lot of similarities. But he shut that thing right on down, which made me shut down and immediately get offended. Should I have been offended? I don't know. Because, he didn't ask for my opinion. He just made a statement. Now, that was completely random and totally out of left field because he was sharing something completely opposite of what we were discussing. My father is a creative also. He creates with his hands beautiful hats and beautiful fascinators and different things of that nature. And I would like to say that some of my creative ability comes from him, some comes from my mom, and all of it comes from the Lord, of course. But I was like, man, how did we get here? And then instantly, just as I was offended, I asked God in that moment immediately so that my mind would not go any further down the rabbit hole of offense. I immediately asked God, Lord, she likes to feel like she has a safe space to come and talk to you about anything. A woman understands that no, you're not her girlfriend. No, you're not this. No, you're not that. But you're her husband and you are her confidant. And maybe she's had best friends out there in the world, but fortunately, I don't want to say unfortunately, but fortunately, you've now become her best friend. And yes, you can have sex and all these things and it can feel good and great and grand. But if there is no other connection there other than the sexual connection, and then you get up and go and you move and you shake and move, because my dad didn't hold no grass up under his feet. Help me not be offended about this. Help me not be offended by what he just said. Because, Lord, I almost was offended. And then I had to say, no, you know what, God? I was offended. But I don't want to allow this moment of offense to take over the rest of the remaining time and moments that I have with my dad here. Because for those who don't know, my dad was diagnosed with cancer last April. And that took a toll on me and my siblings and my family at large. And once you start going through things like that, you learn what's most important, and you realize being offended by something that he said, and he didn't ask for my opinion, is on me. You can choose to be offended, or you can just let it go. And I'm like, man, I know my father. I do. And honestly, funny thing, I would have let him know, had he wanted to continue that conversation, I would have let him know that's one of the reasons why I'm sure you don't have a wife. Women like to be heard. She likes to feel like her words matter. He didn't let no grass grow up under there, y'all. My dad was always on the road, traveling, with his business, working. He did provide. That I can give him. He did love the Lord. That I can give him. He taught us about Christ. That I can give him. For a long time, I seen my mom and my dad, my mom and my dad, my mom and my dad until middle school. My dad was always on the road, traveling, with his business, working. He did provide. That I can give him. He did love the Lord. That I can give him. He taught us about Christ. That I can give him. For a long time, I seen my mom and my dad, my mom and my dad, my mom and my dad until middle school. And that's where all of everything that would affect me, a lot of things that would affect my adulthood and my decision making kicked in. Because when you're a child, you see things one way. Rose-colored glasses are your best friend. You don't see things outside of that. All you see is mommy and daddy. But when you become an adult and you realize that you get your behavior, your activities, and the way that you move from somewhere, you are a product of your environment, whether good, bad, or indifferent. You then understand better why your parents did what they did. You understand that they only parented from their capacity. One of the things that I could say that was a barrier for me with my father that just would take me out of here every time, because I felt like my dad would experience something or encounter something. But then you bring up certain things and it's as if he never remembered. As if you weren't there for the same something that you just went through. With him, around him, or by him. And so I'm sure if I went through that as his daughter, his wives went through different things with him also. And it's something about an emotional attachment when you're intimate with somebody. That's a whole nother other level. But being his daughter, it brings out something else also. Because you're the first person that I should be able to turn to. You're the first person that I should seek real advice from. People would ask me, are you a daddy's girl? And I wasn't. But I love my dad. I seen things that my dad did that I didn't agree with all the time. But shoot, I'm an adult now and I'm sure he could say the same thing. The things that I've seen and the things that I've experienced, it wasn't ever to be judgmental. A lot of things I took to the Lord in prayer because I didn't understand it fully. And some things I didn't even want to know. But that, in that moment, had I not knew God, would have been a moment of offense and another place of brokenness to build off of, to allow to fester, to turn into something that could hold me at a stagnant place with my dad for a long time. You don't know, man, how important it is to listen to your daughters, to make them feel protected, to make them feel loved, to make them feel wanted. Not in a sexual way, because you got some predatory dads out there amongst men. And we not with none of that. But I'm talking about a genuine father, a man who really wants to father, a man who takes pride in his baby girl and even his son. I can only speak from a daughter's perspective, though. Of course, because I'm a daughter. But I thank God for a relationship with Christ, because I would have held on. And one thing that I can say is I appreciate in that moment knowing God, and me knowing God stemmed from my father teaching us God when we were children. And so in those moments you recall to your mind, if the good days outweigh the bad days, is this moment of offense worth holding on to? And I then realized, no. I've been here for days now, seeing my children experience their grandfather one-on-one in the most direct way has been such a blessing. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. Today, if you have an odd against your father or even your parent, we're talking about dads today, I want you to address it. Maybe your father said something to you that you didn't expect him to say, or said something to you that really hurt. And you're like, what in the world? A father's not supposed to do that. A man is not supposed to do that. I challenge you to forgive him. Let it go. You don't know what tomorrow or what today brings. Because what I can say is, past that moment of offense, he said what he said, but guess what my father continued to do? He continued to talk as if it never happened. Now, that could be a toxic trait, but that could be a blessing in disguise. Because sometimes men do just bypass the moment as if it never happened and act like you should just let it go. And no, the world does not work that way. Some things must be addressed. But sometimes God has to show them where they erred in the conversation or that encounter or that experience. And it's not that you forget. It's that you forgive so much so that what was said or what was done does not hold you bound while they're free. Today says be free. Today, brother, be free. Because I'm sure you're holding on to something that you got offended by years ago. And maybe they didn't know. He didn't know. Or maybe he did. Sometimes your capacity is not theirs, even at their old age. Do your daily diary dumps. Forgive your dad. Write down what offended you. Write down the worst possible outcome and write down the most fruitful outcome. Not based off of what he should do or could do, but based off of what you can do, no matter what he does. Until then, remember, you are loved no matter what. And also know that if you did not have a father present or even a mother present, that God is a father to the fatherless, a mother to the motherless, a friend to the friendless, and you're not alone. If you've liked this episode, be sure to connect with us on all of our social media platforms. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Patreon. We would love to connect with you. Tell a friend to pull up. Share this with a guy friend or even a girlfriend because we're sure that everyone can get something from our podcast. Let us know how we're doing. If there's something that you may want to talk about on our podcast and you would like to remain anonymous, email us at feminineandfit03@gmail.com. That's feminine and and fit fit03@gmail.com. And remember, you're not just spiritually fit, physically fit, or mentally fit, but you are feminine and fit. Bye.